Hello. I was wondering if I could have spies some of your pencils for a magic trick that I do for kids.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
You can't be serious.
Number 5. Talos. I know that he's more of a new thing to the series, but he was hard enough for me to put on this list. I mean, I can't even count how many times this thing kicked my ass, and that was in his first form. You can't imagine how happy I was to see that I beat him, only for him to get back up, mutate, connect to the ceiling, and start another fight that was harder than the first. I mean, jeez, looking at him like that, thinking that he was defeated was such a fucking cock tease. I thought I was done only to have him get back up and kill me. To boot, his weak spots are hard to hit because they are so small and you're moving around. What also sucks is that you'll most likely spend all of your big guns on his first form, leaving you almost defenseless in the second round and definitely weaker, and that's why this new monster falls in the middle of the list. Number 4. Mr. X. Ugh, I hated fighting Mr. X with a passion. I mean, he's hard in every game that he's in, but at least in the past games he was a bit sluggish so you could dodge. But I'm talking about the Mr. X in Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles. That SOB couldn't be any harder and scarier to deal with even if he tried. He is extremely powerful and fast from the get-go and can kill you with extreme ease, and the worst part is that I'm only talking about the first fight. In the second fight you have to take on 2 of them with scarce amount of ammo and health. Both Mr. X's are equal in speed and power. They also have the ability to jump extremely high, and you must hit both of them in order to avoid being hit, period. Truly, the second fight is one of the toughest and most suspenseful battles in Resident Evil. Number 3. Ouroboros. Granted, while he is tough to get through in Resident Evil 5, I am not talking about this one in particular. I'm talking about the one in Resident Evil Outbreak File 1. Now, before anyone tries to give me flack, I am aware that Outbreak isn't one of the stronger points in the Resident Evil series, but this countdown is character based and how they perform, and Ouroboros is straight chaos in this game. You're stuck in a hospital with limited power that works like a maze. Off of the bat, it is filled with zombies and you're limited on weapons and health. It's also menacingly dark, and to make things worse, you're constantly being hunted down by this leech monster, which cannot be killed. No guns work on it no matter how hard you try, and running away only gives you so much time, because this creature is the only monster that can go through rooms and move through the vents in order to chase you, and it does not stop. Blood packs will distract it, but they are few and far between. The only thing that can kill this monster is fire, and you don't get access to that until the very end, which means that you must navigate through the hospital while having this thing hunt you down with no mercy. Talk about suspenseful. Number 2. Nemesis. We're almost to number 1, and with that come the biggest players in this series, and in the world of zombies it gets no bigger than Nemesis. This is the super zombie on steroids, I swear. Huge, fast, powerful, scary, and armed with a freaking rocket launcher, Nemesis is not to be taken lightly. In Resident Evil 3 you encounter him 7 times before the final fight, and each time you have the option to either fight him or run away. Let me tell you something. I ran each time I had the chance to do so because he's harder than a motherfucker. Get near him and you go flying. Few weapons do enough damage to matter, and he will never stop in his pursuit to end stars. I mean, there's this one part where you have to go through a horde of zombies in a sewer in order to turn on the generator and shock everything in sight. Well, Nemesis chases you down this path, and he literally just throws the zombies that are trying to kill you out of the way. Yeah, that's right. He kills the zombies trying to kill you in order to get to you. He's like the fucking Dirty Harry of the Dead or something. When it comes to ultimate weapons of dead flesh, no villain does it better than Nemesis. Well, we are finally down to the end of the list. So who tops this little countdown as being the best? Well, it's none other than the Morgan Freeman of the series. Coming in at number 1, Albert Wesker.
I'll just have to kill you quickly.
Love him or hate him, Wesker is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best characters in the Resident Evil series, and it wouldn't even be half as good if he wasn't in it. At the start of the series, he plays a traitor to you and your unit, and then becomes an undead rival of sorts, popping up here and there until he finally reaches godlike levels in Resident Evil 5. The guy is a third-dimensional, sophisticated character whose interest never ends, and any encounters with him in the series always make for a good and suspenseful fun time. His fights are interesting, he has charisma, and makes for the ultimate bad guy. I mean, I could literally hear him ramble on for hours about natural selection in Resident Evil 5. When you think about Resident Evil, it's hard not to have Wesker come to mind. and that's why he's number 1. Well, that about does it for this list. If you want to share your favorite Resident Evil villains or characters, post them in a video response or in the comment section below.